Love you.
All right, I'm also paying information. You know where Kenny the Jet Smith at?
Yes, I got Kenny too. I know exactly where he's at.
Okay, now this one right here gets you going bad. I'm gonna get you some motherfucking big dollars. Do you know where Ernie Johnson is at?
Ooh, let me work on that one right quick. That's a tough one.
Alright, and remember, I'm paying top dollar for all that information. Love you, boy. Hey, don't tell nobody.
All right, one.
Shaq in the chat.
No, he on IG. I've never professed. I've never professed that I was as great as Shaq. But what I will say,
yes, sir,
I got what I got because I worked my ass off. Now,
yes,
Shaq has been the one to say it. That he didn't work as hard, he didn't train as hard, he didn't eat as well as he should have.
Right.
Shaq is the one that anytime someone wins an MVP, he talks about how he should have been the MVP over Steve Nash.
Y'all, so it looks like Shannon Sharpe is done playing nice and he's coming straight for Shaquille O'Neal's neck. Now, if you've been watching this unfold, you already know what I'm talking about because Shannon Sharpe is finally speaking out and confronting Shaquille O'Neal, but not over basketball talk, not over TV beef, but for allegedly setting him up with a wild $50 million lawsuit. And let's be real, the timing is sus as F, and this lawsuit didn't just pop out of the nowhere. It's just so happened to land right when Shannon was reportedly about to secure a massive $100 million deal with ESPN. But now he's resigned from negotiations, and word on the streets is this lawsuit was the final nail in the deal's coffin. Coincidence? I don't think so. Because let's not forget, Shannon and Shaq have had a simmering beef for years, and now it's looking like this was Shaquille O'Neal's long game revenge play. And y'all, if this is all true, it's getting messy. And this whole conspiracy is starting to unravel after a leaked audio surfaced of Shaquille allegedly trying to get dirt on Shannon, asking around trying to dig up skeletons, and apparently he found something so juicy it's enough to blow back on Shannon and hit him where it hurts. But y'all, it doesn't stop there. The lawsuit, it involves Gabriella Zuniga, but insiders claim she isn't even the first woman that Shaq may have used to bait Shannon. There was another case before this one, and y'all, Shaq's fingerprints are all over it. So buckle up because this story is wild, messy, and full of receipts. So let's get into it. Alright y'all, so we really need to understand how deep this rabbit hole goes. And with that, we gotta start with Matt Barnes because he low-key let the cat out the bag. So picture this, it's early 2022 and Matt Barnes is doing his usual, being all up in the sports world mix. Then out of the nowhere, this audio clip starts making rounds, and y'all, who's in it? Matt is allegedly talking about how Shaquille O'Neal was out here willing to spend big money to dig up dirt on Shannon Sharpe. Like some serious cash in the streets, like not play money.
Alright, and remember, I'm paying top dollar for all that information. Love you, boy. Hey, don't tell nobody.
All right, one.
Alright, go.
Now, where exactly did this audio come from? That's still a bit murky, but some people say it's a private conversation that got leaked, and others think it might have been from a podcast taping or a side recording. Either way, Matt Barnes' voice was clear as crystal, and he basically hinted that Shaq wasn't just mad about the little MVP talk, no. He was ready to go low to get back at Shannon. And honestly, when you look at the timeline, it checks out. Because you remember their beef exploded when Shaq came for Shannon after the whole MVP situation with Nikola Jokic. Well, Shannon said it sounded like jealousy, and Shaq did not take that lightly. Instead of just clapping back on social media like everybody else, Shaq went full petty billionaire mode.
I know you well enough to have a problem with you. And so what I try to do, I mean, I got kids damn near your age, and so I'm not gonna go back and forth. I don't go back and forth, but I say what I say. I like to think that I keep everything that I possibly can on the court. But I think the thing is, Cam, that I speak with so much passion. When I talk, people take my passion as being personal.
Right. Now, we got to talk about it. You in the Shaq situation, right? He came out with a diss track, and I heard your response to it, but his was more, there's another situation. The passion of whatever, and I believe you caught it straight, because I don't think you was, in essence, talking about it more so than Gilbert. You did, and then it spun to that. Have you guys talked?
We haven't. Shaq feels the way he feels, and he's perfectly fine to feel that way. I said what I said. I still think Shaq is a phenomenal basketball player, even though, he minimized my career. I'm fine.
But here's where it gets really shady. After the whole MVP drama, everything went quiet between them in public. No back and forths, no subtweets, no shady interviews, and people thought, oh great, they squashed it. Little did we know, behind the scenes, Shaq was allegedly starting the digging process. And y'all, when you think about how high Shannon's stock was climbing at the time, with new podcast deals, TV guest spots, a rumored $100 million ESPN bag, it makes total sense why Shaq would want to move quietly but deadly. But hold up, wait a minute, because if you still think that maybe Shaq wasn't behind it at all, wait till we talk about this viral TMZ video. And not just any video, it's the one that shows Shannon Sharpe getting real cozy with a random fan at an event. Now listen, we all know Shannon is a people person. He's charismatic, he's friendly, he loves the ladies, particularly the white ones, but that isn't news. But something about this video, it felt strategic, like almost too perfect. In the clip, Shannon is seen smiling, laughing, and leaning in just a little too close to a female fan, and y'all, people on the internet immediately started buzzing like, hold on, this feels like a setup. Especially because right after this video dropped, the same woman's name started floating around in the background of these lawsuit rumors.
Up there?
Let's be real here, TMZ doesn't just randomly pop up places. Someone usually has to make a call. Somebody tips them off, and somebody makes sure that that camera is pointing exactly where it needs to be pointed. Which makes it even sadder because if this was a setup, it worked perfectly. They dangled the bait, and Shannon, being his usual friendly self, fell right in. And that might have been all the green light Shaq needed to really start cooking up some mess behind the scenes. So as you may already know by now, Gabriella Zuniga is the woman at the center of this $50 million lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe. And guess who's heading up this lawsuit? None other than Tony Busby. And if the name rings a bell, it should, because that's the same high-powered attorney who repped all those women against Deshaun Watson. And we can't forget to mention Jay-Z too. This man doesn't play when it comes to high-profile celebrity takedowns or shakedowns. But let's get into the claims. Gabriella says that Shannon forced himself on her, physically harmed her, and there's mention of controlling behavior and psychological manipulation. She's saying she suffered from trauma, stress, and all types of emotional damage. That isn't light stuff, y'all. It's like some serious and graphic stuff. But what really took the internet by storm? Leaked recordings, because Busby allegedly has audio clips that he claims support Gabriella's side of the story. But here's where things get sticky, because Shannon is pushing back and pushing back hard. He made a public statement saying straight up that they should play the whole 10-minute recording and not just parts of it.
The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about.
Now, y'all, when a man's response is play the whole illicit tape, that tells you he feels like the edit isn't fair, and he's standing 10 toes down, saying Gabriella was a willing participant and that the media is only showing snippets to make him look guilty. But here's where things get real murky, because people started digging, and what did they find? Leaked text. And not just any text, there are screenshots floating around that allegedly show Shannon and Gabriella discussing, well, let's just say some wild role play fantasies, including race play. And if you don't know what that is, I suggest you stay innocent and just keep it moving, because it's dark. But this is another thing. None of this was coming out of thin air. Let's not act brand new, because Shannon Sharpe, he been telling us he's a whole big old freak for a minute now. But let's rewind to 2023 when Shannon was co-hosting a Nightcap podcast with Chad Ochocinco Johnson. They were talking about actress Yvonne Orji, you know, the gorgeous queen from Insecure and new Pop the Balloon Challenge host on Netflix. She's been very open about maintaining her V card until marriage, and Chad suggested that she'd be a great match for Shannon. Well, what did Shannon say, y'all? Yeah, you know what, Joe? I'm looking for a sinner. He laughed it off and then doubled down by name-dropping adult film star Misstee nasty. That man said he ain't trying to be with no woman that's on a straight and narrow. He wants something that's nasty.
Now, what you think about that?
I'm looking for a sinner. I'm looking for a sinner. Send me Miss Nasty B. What her name was? The one that you
Miss Nasty B?
umbrella?
Miss Nasty?
Yeah, I'm looking for. I don't want nobody walking straight and narrow.
Oh, come on.
Nah,
So,
I want a sinner.
Listen, I thought we as
Well, now look, nobody's judging his preferences, but let's keep it real here. He's been very open about the kind of lifestyle he enjoys. He jokes about women, the lusty comments, and the on-air thirst. It's all about right in our faces. So now that Gabriella's lawsuit is here and these wild claims are popping up left and right, can we really say that we're shocked? Like, he literally told us in 4K. But here's the kicker, Gabriella Zuniga might not have been the only woman allegedly tied to this so-called Get Shannon agenda. Because guess what? There's another case with similar vibes that people say has Shaq's fingerprints all over it. Let me introduce y'all to Michelle Evans. Back in 2023, Michelle Evans filed a lawsuit against Shannon in New York. This was almost 2 years before Gabriella came forward. So Michelle Evans' case was technically first because what she alleged was truly disturbing. And the fact that nobody was really talking about it then is really wild. But according to the legal docs obtained by People magazine, Michelle represented herself, no fancy lawyer, just her telling her side of the story. And she claimed that she had been in a long-term relationship with Shannon for almost 10 years. Up until around 2010, and things apparently ended after a big blow-up over Shannon allegedly cheating. And this is where her claims turn dark. She says that after their first fight, Shannon demanded that they have smacks. She said no, and what she describes next, pure trauma. Evans says that Shannon forcibly subdued her, made her get on her knees, and performed non-consensual oral penetration. And despite her protests, she says he didn't stop. But it didn't end there. She then alleged that Shannon pushed her onto the bed and proceeded to engage in non-consensual penetration while saying, and I quote, "I'm gonna make it so no other man will want you." Now let's be clear, Evans isn't suing Shannon for SA in this legal sense, but she did say he threatened her, tried to destroy her professional reputation, and caused intense emotional distress. She says the internet and media backlash that followed was filled with people calling her a liar and destroying her name. And yes, Shannon Sharpe denied these allegations too, and he's denied every claim made against him so far. But come on now, y'all. Once, maybe we could call it coincidence. Twice, 3 times, all similar accusations. At some point, y'all, there's a pattern that's starting to write itself. And now we gotta circle back to that one topic everybody's been low-key side-eyeing since Gabriella's news dropped, these Diddy parties. Now listen, Shannon Sharpe has publicly stated that he never attended those wild Diddy parties. He said on the record that he ain't got nothing to do with all that alleged freaky, culty Hollywood madness. But when you step back in and look at everything that's come out now, these lawsuits, these leaked texts, the aggressive SA allegations, people are starting to wonder what's real, because the vibe, the energy, the power play dynamics being described in these lawsuits, it's giving the exact same tone we've seen in Diddy investigations: control, coercion, obsession, and cover-ups.
Oh my God. You ever was at a Diddy party?
No,
Never?
I ain't never been invited. I ain't that big to go. I mean, maybe if I was in the position that I'm in now, but back then, no. I don't get invited to no parties, bro. Plus, I'm a homebody.
Do you like partying or no? Nah. I feel
I just like to be to myself, man.
I feel that.
You know.
I feel that.
And it's not just fans asking questions either, because remember when Jay-Z and Diddy's conversation was brought up publicly not too long ago? Well, Shaquille O'Neal was one sitting right there. He got real quiet, then stood up and walked off stage, straight up ghosted the scene. The moment had everybody like, wait, does Mr. Shaquille O'Neal know something? Now listen, he never said Shannon's name, but it was definitely given. I know people who were into that lifestyle and pretending they're not.
That man said he'll give you a chance.
You think Jay-Z or
probably not a good time right now.
You're silly, man. You're silly, man. You're silly, man.
Go see if you can fix the wall, will you, Shaq?
The wall, man.
Yeah. Here, back here.
Fix the wall,
I'll go
man.
see if I can fix the wall.
My point was, too soon, Kenny. My point was,
And Shannon has always presented himself as a family man. Strong morals, Bible quotes, the whole clean Uncle Shay image. But these lawsuits are starting to show something very, very different behind that curtain. per usual. Now, sources close to the situation are whispering that Shannon thinks Shaq might be playing some kind of dirty game behind the scenes, laughing it up, throwing shade, and maybe even helping these setups roll out while he pretends to be everybody's favorite funny guy. And if you check Shaq's recent IG activity, he is definitely not moving like a man who's worried about anything, because Shaq literally posted a joke about the whole Matt Barnes audio leak situation where he captioned the post, "Dang, I got caught again. I need that info. I'm paying $2. Meanwhile, Shannon is out here low-key losing everything. His reputation in shambles, his podcast with Ocho taking hits, and his TV career very shaky right now. And the brands, the partnerships, the image he spent decades building, all of that is hanging on by a thread. And y'all, the worst part, the more Shannon tries to defend himself, the worse it seems to get out. It's like every time he speaks up, the more dirt leaks, more receipts, more recordings, more energy that screams something ain't adding up. Meanwhile, Shaq is chilling, living his best life, dropping petty captions and acting like none of this has anything to do with him. But I gotta leave y'all with a few questions to marinate on. First off, do you think that Shannon Sharpe is being treated unfairly? Second, is Shaquille O'Neal just joking, or is he low-key throwing Shannon under the bus? And third, with all these lawsuits and leaks, can Shannon even come back from this, or is his career basically done? Go ahead and drop your thoughts and comments below, because I know y'all got some opinions on this. And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And you better tap the notification bell so you don't miss any other updates. Also, click the next video on your end screen, because trust me, you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next.